And the reason why it works like that is because there's a lot of people with burn records, like a lot of people, right? So um, obviously they're going to be accountable. But the
People that
trading at value that is basically the
hold into that.
That's a pretty big gain for them.
True.
Hello. Yo. Oh, okay, cool. Mic live. Damn. Hot mic. I just plugged it in, so you probably heard all the clicks. Sorry about that. What's up, y'all? What up, Tree City West? What up, Earn It? T-Law Fitness. Usual suspects. I bounced away. Then everybody left. It's funny. But we back. So, what's up to you guys? Had to set some shit up. But we back in this bitch. So, let me go ahead and repost this on my X account. Yo, if you're on X, go to YouTube. It's cooler vibes. I read the chat over there. I don't really read the chats on X. So come to Twitter. Come to YouTube and then tell me that you said something on X. I guess I'll go look at it. I don't know, man. That's not my swag. But what's up, y'all? What's up, world? What's up, cyberspace? How's it going, internet land? Nothing in this video is financial advice. It's all for entertainment purposes only. It's just some guy on the blockchain doing his own thing. But what's up, world? This your boy, Crypto Bruh, aka More World Peace, the DJ/producer, coming back again with another video about that Zen world. Have some updates. Seems like we got what we wanted. Or I don't know. I don't think anything has changed. But I guess we got a harder time frame and some other crazy things just going on in general in Zen world. It's like we actually have Zen news. But I'm on to the script. What's up, Ernest? Frankie got his finger in all the paths to X1. Shh. I'll grab a bag of soul for the TGE. Okay. I see you, bro. LOL. This guy was pushing buttons. 100K in 100Ks in vanilla ETH mints. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Jack didn't build his own minting script, but when you look back to that era, excuse me, like when you actually look back to 2022, there wasn't a bunch of access to AI assistance, or at least the AI assistance wasn't like breakthrough. And we've been transcending ever since, like ChatGPT has really come to market for the regular technology user. So yeah, it is pretty fascinating to find out that like Jack had to do it by hand because he's not the dev. Met the dev last night. Shout out to Leo. Shout out to Axel, Zensu. Shout out to X1 team, X1 labs, laboratory. Good things are coming for sure. But yeah, that's one of those signs. The founder is a coder, but he might not be a developer. So, shout out to all the devs out there, Devin. But yo, this is your boy Crypto Bro. We talk about Zen and its relationship to the overall crypto markets. And right now we got Bitcoin pulling back 107. Again, I want to see Bitcoin. I've been saying this. If it gets up here, it needs to get out of here. Can't stay here for too long, or it basically just changes the sentiment. But this is the weekly. We're getting ready to close the month in about a day. Let me take off these science lines. So we can see though, Bitcoin on the monthly is excellent. Positive. It's all good. All good in the hood over there in Bitcoin world. And if you're in crypto, this is pretty much the like anchor in institution. Bitcoin is the study in academia. Which is kind of stupid to me. I don't think you need to study cryptocurrency. You should probably study computer science. Become good at math. That would be the one that would actually get you the bag, the real bag position. But being a historian of Bitcoin is cool, I guess. But yeah, so right now where Bitcoin is as a monthly concept right here, I would really like to see Bitcoin go up. I guess we can delete these lines now. What else did I delete? Oh, okay. Delete that. This one's still kind of at play. That's what I was thinking before was that in May it would be down and in June it would be up. But it looks like May was up and hopefully June continues up. And that's kind of why I don't do technical analysis. I just look at this as gas. So I use indicators to just kind of tell me how the market is feeling. One of my indicators is this RSI because I can see the buys, the sell pressure and the buy pressure. Essentially, when it's up here at the top of the RSI, like right now it's at 69, you know what I'm saying, space number. It's basically overbought. Like it's getting to a range where people have over purchased the Bitcoin, but it's not like because it's over purchased, it's just gonna stop. Usually the growth candles that take us to another level, those ones typically show up when Bitcoin's price prediction, gas prediction essentially, is being questioned. Like right here we had a little doji candle. Well, I guess not really a doji, it's in the middle. No, it's still a doji, I think. I don't know, I'm not a trader. But this is kind of like the move I'm looking for in Bitcoin. You can see here, oh shit, hold on, I gotta change this up. So we're looking at the monthly. So we have hella data in this chart. And that's the cool thing about long-term charts in crypto. Some classic world crypto alpha, is that they essentially just have so much data, and this is such a free market. Yeah, there's some corporate, interests, which has changed this market and made it very dynamic. And if you kind of add that like research to your research to your data, it usually enhances and gets you into the right positions, right? That's why, we could call 50K Bitcoin back in 2022. So yeah, you see when XEN came out, that was actually the bottom of Bitcoin in this current rate area. Like ever since 2022, we haven't returned to under the 40. That's what this red line is here. So again, I use very simple TA, but I'm not doing no technical analysis. Oh no, come back. Okay, I'm not doing any technical analysis. I'm essentially using these tools to enhance my prediction possibilities. Where is the edit button? All right. I need to make this bright red. It's too dark red in a straight line. And I need to make a 40. I did 42 on the Bitcoin. We'll keep it at the 42 for good luck. But yeah, you'll see here, December 2022, that was the last time that Bitcoin ever was under the 40. And again, you can go and look this up. You can ask GPT, when's the best time to buy on an RSI? And it always says under the 40 points. Because it's just, at that particular moment, it's simple math, or it's simplicity. It's red shoe, or it's left shoe, right shoe. But after 50%, once you hit 40, it's obviously on the other side of the spectrum. So most signals do fire off at like this 40 range on the RSI, because at that particular point, it's like what I'm saying, like it's getting into a territory where it's becoming oversold. So most people who believe in it will buy up the token before it becomes oversold because of the speculation, which invites the trader to step in. And this is just a free market concept, that I've just picked up over time. So when I'm looking at Bitcoin right now, it's hella far away from this 40. But the last time it was there was in 2022. And do I think, it's over? Like, oh man, is Bitcoin bearish? Are we about to, this is one of the longest Bitcoin charts. This is the Bitstamp one. So this chart goes all the way back to 2012. I kind of recommend, picking up an OG chart and not picking up like a chart from like Coinbase, because that one would have a lot of capital manipulation. But like Bitstamp, again, this one is registering data from the land before time. You feel me? Spill the tea with the team, pretty much. What up, Gandhi? What it do, bro? What it do? But yeah, so like last time most times that we come up to this oversold area, oh my bad, yeah, over purchased area, overbought right here, right? Typically it's when Bitcoin is having kind of like a euphoric moment, right? Last time this happened, Bitcoin went from $12 to 250. Okay. The year was 2013, excuse me. So, and this is just to say like Bitcoin had a price. I mean, there's people who are in Bitcoin, again, from 2011 mining blocks, 50 BTC per block. And this is towards the first halvening. So that's the narrative that pushed the free market, right? But metrics come into play once you have enough data. And we can obviously see there was moments where Bitcoin was exhausted from buyers, and the speculation was so strong that like if you held your Bitcoins from $2 to $1,000, which I knew a lot of people who did this, and I know some people who probably wish they still had their Bitcoin that they sold at $1,000 and DCA'd out of BTC until back to 150, right? What does that do? That's the redistribution of of supply back to the buyers. So naturally you see Bitcoin get really close to that 50-50 area, but it instantly grabs its momentum and surges, right? We get $200 Bitcoin, $20,000 Bitcoin, right? So this is the blueprint. And every single crypto token that wants to be something is trying to redo this, and you get it from time to time. The thing is like once you get up here, right, that's why Bitcoin is taking a little bit more time to like grow, I guess. But I think it's overdue for one of these seriously overbought experiences. And as you can see, like it's not like it just surges into this, right? It takes some time, and then when it gets into this range, it's doing something, right? So we got the 2021 pump, and this one just wasn't as strong, and that's just what it is, guys. You're gonna go from, if you can get the real bottom, I guess the real bottom here was being in Bitcoin in 2020, buying it at $4,000 and then selling it at 54, which is still great. But like that's where we are now. Like those people who got rotated on at 54 bought back in Bitcoin at 17, and now they're sitting here at 100K. Like they really haven't made much from where they had to start work, essentially, because you see they bought it over here and it was overbought here. Now it's up here, and that's why it's like, yo, they could sell. It's a free market. But the thing is more than likely we're setting ourselves up for a high velocity of exposure, and it's gonna be pretty epic. So I'm not too worried about the daily on Bitcoin. You can see on the daily, this is where the trading comes in. So maybe there's a pullback, you feel me? Like maybe this shit goes to 94 because it's gonna follow the 200. Again, this is the way that I pay attention. And it makes it real easy. So like I knew it was gonna ride the 200. I just didn't know how I was gonna do it, and that shit went. But now it could come back because it's very oversold on the daily, and people are so wish-washy about Bitcoin because they don't understand the blocks. I do think we have some hope though. There's some hopium here because you have the altcoins trying to do something. That's Ethereum. Then we got Solana here. They're all at their 200, and the 200 is turned into a resistance, as you can see, for pretty much everybody. While Bitcoin is rolling the dice because it could continue up. It totally could, but again, it's trading in an institutional experiment, and the real bottom is right here at 55. So the real bottom isn't really up as F yet. I mean, I would really like to see Bitcoin at like 150, 130, not at 100K dancing. It makes me feel like we can get one more dip, one more collection under 100K, and then we can keep marching, more momentum into the summer and whatnot. And the thing holding back your altcoin is Ethereum's success. And if ETH can't find success, people are going to just sell it at this point because it's been trying right here. And it's been here for a long time. Since the beginning of May, it's been in the same place essentially. So yeah, if you're bullish on cryptos, like you've got the setup to make me feel like gas is getting ready to get really expensive. But at the same time, this market is full of a bunch of JEETs, and JEETs, they tend to sell right when you think they're about to hold. So I don't discount the JEET. But yeah, everything looking really good setup wise. Let's see. Tron's hovering above its 200 because it's paired with Bitcoin. Basically, it's just moving side by side with Bitcoin. It's basically Bitcoin 2.0. Just kidding. What we got here? Oh, Polygon. I started looking at Polygon because I'm a burn for it. I don't know. Actually, I don't know yet. Now after what Jack said, I don't really know yet. I got to figure it out. He didn't necessarily throw a wrench in it, but he's leaving out like key details that a lot mind share. So it's gonna be fun building as we go, and it's pretty much every man for yourself because you got to believe whatever you want to believe, however you're digesting the information. It's gonna be juicy though. So yeah, I'm looking at Polygon, but we can see here Polygon's viciously under their 200, which makes sense because who the fuck is a Polygon? It's retracing back to its 40. It seems it likes to live under that on the daily. But yeah, I'm not going to Polygon because I believe in Polygon. Really, I'm just looking at XEN and how Polygon has all this supply, and that's where the burn is going to be nurtured now. And I'm very curious, to how this all is going to play out. How many people really like XEN? How many people participate? How, because it's like that was like the catch-22 of what Jack said yesterday, in my opinion. We could like listen back to what he said. What up, Neeks? What up, Lita? But like in Zen world, whatever he said, it doesn't matter. Only CBZen is up. But I have a theory on this one. I need to pull my head up. But yeah, CBZen is up. And this is kind of fascinating. It's like people take information differently. So I'm curious now, really, really curious now. Is CBZen the one? No, I'm just kidding. How did did everybody really take this information differently? Because technically none of the Zens reacted, and even Ethereum, like, it didn't really react to what Jack said about 3 to 12 months of burning Zen. So, I mean, maybe it's a lot to digest. Maybe you're not in the Zen world, so for you, you're just like, oh, I'm gonna wait for hard numbers, and that's kind of what Jack let in on yesterday, which was kind of funny, telling people to just wait, which opens up the floor for the real Zenians. So, I'm excited to see where this narrative goes, essentially, because it's gonna impact either way. And now that we've gone through the Bitcoin RSI concept, look at like Zen now on the daily. So in our world, we have the buy, sells, and trades that are currently happening, and inflation has decreased massively on every single chain. Every single chain, massive deflation. Look at liquid supply and optimism has been hovering between 60 trillion and 56 trillion. It's just been there for a while. Base is also on the same hype. It's been hovering between 280 trillion and 350 trillion. I'm not too sure about some of the other chains, but those two chains, because those are the ones I'm into, I see it. Liquid supply on ETH is in the same boat. It's been hovering. It added maybe 20 trillion supply in the last 2 months. So all the Zen's tokenomics are alive and prospering, at least the ones that are successful. And then what I mean by that is just, it's going to be the ETH game. It's up to you. Believe whether you want. It's the Crypto Bruh channel, bro. It's going to be the ETH. And Polygon is just for burning. ETH Pal is just for burning. Moonbeam is just for burning. Right? And whatever people want to do after the burn in the next 3 to 12 months, that's kind of what we're speculating on now if we continue to make Zen. Right? So that's where, again, I feel like people will make Zen where access is accessible. And maybe it does become kind of like gated concepts where it's like, yo, I'm really on base chain. And that's why I was like, yo, I'm surprised that base is the first one for it to like render. Cause yeah, there's no more inflation really. It's small, very small. So if enough buys came in, it would just take off the chart. And it's a good time to be in liquidity pools because you could take advantage. If you got the Zen, you supply it, people are gonna come and give you the ETH, and you move on with your world. But again, this is kind of what Jack was saying. Like, you're the owner of your Zen, you should know what you want to do with it. You should make a decision. You shouldn't be waiting on him, and he's gonna tell you to do all four, which is pretty funny. Here, we gotta listen into what he was saying. Oh, I gotta pause this. Let's see. I think the timestamp when Freddie or Frankie had asked him was 3:55. But basically, he really put into perspective like how this burn is gonna happen. Not like full details, but more just like you as a crypto, or you as a Zenian, like, where do you stand if you're just here for the burn? Because that's like what's weird now, in my opinion, is like there are really people here that are just here for the burn. Again, I think Zen offers sovereign ownership and identity inside of the blockchain, and since it's immutable, it's kind of like a partnership with the blockchains on their trustless, permissionless pledge to this technology. And to censor Zen, again, is to censor this technology, or this notion that like you can repurpose block space, and if you have enough energy behind your repurposing, it could potentially be more expensive than the block space itself. And maybe you want to keep your Zen coins, again, because the block space itself will always be less than the Zen token. And it's up to you. You got to take the journey to understand why it's going to be like that. I'll tell you my version because this is just my channel. But yeah, like Zen, its mining formula is impossible to be infinite. All the coins in the network, it would have to go through the contract in order for it to be infinite, as well as the chain itself would need to be able to react as fast as I want to make the Zen. And most of EVMs, they move linear and not in parallel. So they tend to wait, they tend to stall, they tend to fucking cost a lot of money to get to the kernel. So in my personal opinion, Zen is not infinite. It's a very, very hard asset. It's very predictable. And yeah, it's banger. But yeah, I can understand, bro. Somebody told you this shit inflate forever, bro. It's gonna inflate forever. I hate Zen. I didn't play it right because I'm illiterate. I can't read. Bro, the minting formula is crazy wild. We're going to take that thing to the next level. I got to tell that to Leo. You know, Leo met Jack a year before they made Zen. That's crazy. Talk about quantum positioning. But let me see if I'm at this right place here.
Jack, with that the OFT got solved, the new Solidity that you can actually omni-chain and so on.
Like X1, for sure.
Nice. Okay.
In terms of OFT tokens, so
For phones.
Okay, hold on. It's over here.
or
Get it out, bro. Distribution.
Here we go.
Coming out the gate, TGE. Imagine
for the people. It's probably going to be
to come to a failed project, you know.
Man, y'all talk a lot. Hold on.
early with a purpose. I mean, honest.
well, you deserve a good rest tonight.
And then there's a chicken.
Because
Fuck.
not die. You need an organism of it. We've got the jurisdictions for the fucking
Shout outs Clout. He be summarizing. I just want this bit with Jack talking about burning. Bruv. I think it's right here, 255.
here is the story as far as what the blockchain can be, and ultimately it's metrics such as like how many validators we have, what's our Nakamoto coefficient, are we
Man, I don't want to open up my messages. Hold on. I know where I gotta go. He's just gonna look at my mug for a second. Shout out Frankie. He actually sniped the moments. That's why I'm like, why can't I remember this? Oh, I'm right here. I think I'm in the right spot. Yeah, here we go. He just shut it down.
like provide enough censorship resistance, that sort of thing. I think secure, so on and so forth. And so ultimately, I actually think that the best way to launch is when the XNT token is as close to zero as possible, because it gives everybody an equal upside in terms of like getting the token and actually riding it higher, rather than it's coming out at like $5 billion and then like dumping for 3 years to come.
How do you launch it at near zero?
Well, there are ways. It's not gonna launch near zero, but you want the chart to go up. You don't want the chart to go down. So, and for that you need liquidity. Like you need the tokens to be available for trading. And generally, it's done with market makers. So, but market makers, they kind of like really only care about themselves. So they take your money and they take your tokens and they trade them up pretty much right away. And that's what happened with like Celestia and Berachain. You could see their charts are basically on, down to the right from launch. And that's because they paid to all of the market makers to promote the tokens that generated a lot of initial hype. And then as hype dissipated, the chart basically destroyed itself. And that's not great because every time the tokens go down in value, the incentives that the chain actually is providing to like both validators and builders is dropping by the second, right? Like every time you wake up and it's like, okay, I'm making 10% less. How great is that? Like if you're a builder, so you have to have like faith that there will be a turnaround. And that's what happens when you start like at $5 billion or like $10 billion and then you just go down. So, but how do you avoid that? And so we think we can actually be our own market maker on Solana. So Solana is the basically decentralized exchange, and we think we can issue wrapped XNT and just set the liquidity right there. So anybody who is wishing to acquire XNT, they can acquire it, but it's not going to be like a $10 billion valuation. And so that sort of like liquidity provisioning will allow for stable pricing, which is actually great for ability of people to acquire the tokens and actually write it up as the chain gets more traction. You see what I mean?
Hell yeah. I think that's the right way because that's what we've done the whole time. Just organic.
I'm gonna pause it right there real quick because like what Jack said there though, actually what Cloud is amazed about is is why we, in my opinion, the pivot to SVM was incredible. It was immaculate. Where your liquidity is sitting is part of the game. Because if you put your liquidity on a chain where, and this is kind of like the Zen thing I'm talking about, right? In Zen, I feel like if you're putting your time in a chain where it is ass and nobody goes there because nobody wants to be there, you're just wasting your time. So building a blockchain is essentially the same ideology of, well, we do want a garden, you know, where we can spread our seeds and plant these ideas. And Zen was an amazing first render of this garden, right? But it's not where the money is in 2025, 26, 27. Like so much TVL is moving into Solana and so much focus in this industry of cryptocurrency is moving into SVM because it just offers a better development environment in general for everyone to innovate. So the pivot again into SVM so that they could do this essentially like a bootstrapping program, right? They're gonna bootstrap X1 with Solana. So yeah, you ask yourself, is this gonna impact you got some alpha for Solana, but it's up to you if you're gonna take it in. And that's why I'm like, yo, I'm curious if we're gonna see discounts on these mainstream coins, because this is now in my narrative. It might even make more sense for you to sell all of your Zen and just buy Solana to get ready to stake it, and then root for people to fucking sell Solana with them being dumb as hell. Like, oh no, fuck this Solana shit. You're like, it's cool, bro. I'm gonna pick it up and stake it and get XNT yield. You know what I'm saying? 334. Okay, you're with it. You want the chart to go up, not down. For real. But yeah, so like that was what something I took away from that there was XNT is gonna start at 0. All of these Zen coins are at 0. Every Zen token is at 0. And there's gonna be something that happens. And if you really understand what I mean by like, we don't know what the quantum position is Zen is like, but it may be, you know, it is the fairest launch crypto in EVM, and its access is gonna be, it's just gonna be more majestic, like to own Zen than to own like XNT. Like owning XNT is like technical, it's like hard hat shit. Like, no, I own XNT, you know. But owning Zen is like, oh, I got my feet in the grass, I got some Zen in my pocket. So I'm not discounting Zen. I just discount dead chains and lack of production. And you don't want to be, you know, trying to build a factory or you know, or how do you say it? You don't want to become a farmer with bad soil, because then you know, now you gotta move the whole farm once you realize like, damn, this soil sucks. So I'm pro chains where I think the soil is good, CPZen, OPZen, and regular Zen. But let's keep listening into Mr. Levin and the remaining takes that he's got about burning in the next 3 to 12 months.
Organicness. And
Yeah, organicness is good. I like it, and I think it's very community centric approach. Even though somebody may argue that, you know, hey, foundation gets all the benefit because they're the ones that are providing liquidity and capturing value, and to an extent that it's true, but don't forget, guys, that the foundation is set up to provide value for the ecosystem for many years to come. It's not necessarily that whatever the foundation ends up putting on the market in forms of tokens is actually going to enrich someone, like some sort of like an insider, if you will. So that's probably not going to happen. And that's why I actually, you know, I'm working to set up a system that builds value within the community and within the ecosystem rather than somebody's pocket.
Right then and there, somebody should have asked him, did he steal that from Google?
like a dev program or something.
Yeah, basically. So develop program incentives, so forth, and like holders that they're actually asking for both token.
Your mic's rugging real hard.
Oh, I thought that was me too. What the fuck?
Can't hear you at all.
And in speaker, you have two.
It's fucking.
Then he doesn't call it that, or
I'm gonna skip ahead.
Regs Googlers that moved from Google to Sequoia. What's up?
So the question is, what is your networking approach and history with Sequoia, and how are you connecting the dots with them in Solana?
Oh yeah. Shout out to Clark. I don't know which one you want to be called now, Downtown Clark or regular Clark. Hash Clark. But yo, real quick before Jack answers this, Jack dropped the some news yesterday about XEN adding a board member. So if you didn't know, XEN is incorporated, and they're basically in motion now to start making more of their internal information, I guess, public. And I'm learning along with everybody else, so I ain't got no motherfucking extra. But this is Jack had posted this, so you can go see it. It's like a breakdown of everything that's going on in XEN. It's like a slideshow they've been showing people and who like they're working with and whatnot, so you can get hip with it. But what's cool now is that he's starting to kind of let us all in on what they've been building, and yeah, some great. At least for me, I feel like this is the part of crypto that you never really get to be this close to. And I've been kind of saying this since the beginning of Zen, that being in Zen is like being in the boardroom, because this next part or this next phase of whatever we're developing, it really cannot happen without everybody, because it's everybody's. So you should be here, and you should feel kind of like, again, feel like you own some piece of something that needs to happen, right? That's how I feel like a lot of Bitcoiners mined a lot of Bitcoin into existence. Like they just felt like it needed to happen, and then you get everything that comes after, you know, changing the quantum state of reality type shit. So yeah, it is very interesting to see this addition, and maybe there's more.
I don't even know how to answer that. So I know Sequoia for like 20 years, and there are a bunch of Googlers or ex-Googlers that moved from Google to Sequoia. So that's how I know, and that's how I use my network. I just, talk to people about what I'm building, and people get really interested, and we talk about possibilities, and ultimately that's how we got Greg to join. But I think what really sold Greg was the fact that the Solana has like really strong the sort of like a barrier to entry for validators to join the network, and therefore it's pushing centralization forward. Like centralizing aspects are strong on Solana.
We have sorry.
And so basically, when Greg joined, the next day he started a validator. So he's actually running a validator on the network, so that he can actually see how it works and what the cost is. And he's paying $170 a month like the rest of them, and totally understands the feature set and how quickly the chain works. And that's really cool because we got a guy who actually can practice the craft together with us and understand the technical details on how it's running and like what the possibilities are, which is really incredible.
Yeah, I think X1 is Solana for the people. I like that. It's like
Well, Solana itself is obviously for the people because there are people there. But I can't say that Solana is for a little guy. Like if you want to join the chain,
It's
if you want to learn, you can join their testnet, but the barrier is pretty high to join the mainnet. So like the place where you can really enjoy the benefits of like building blocks and capturing block rewards and getting yield is really not at all available. Like you can be a delegator, and that solves the problem of like not being able to run your node. But we know from our community, like especially with XENblocks, is how crazy degenerate like those technical guys like to be and how they love to run their own equipment. It's just very interesting, and like being like running your own gear kind of like makes you stick around the ecosystem for a long time because you feel like you're part of a machine and you're really contributing.
Ooh,
and you're contributing positively in bringing value. So like your efforts bring value, and your value
set up your
is
Ferrari
recognized,
today,
and then you get compensated by the network in a decentralized way. And I think that's beautiful. And so the proper recipe for a successful project is to allow people to capture that value without breaking the bank, or without just like spending days and months learning
how to get a loan,
how to do this properly and how to do it right. I mean, like on Ethereum you can be a validator, but dude, on Ethereum when you run a node, you're actually running two different nodes on a single server. It's actually more complicated to run things on Ethereum. It's not as expensive. Like you can probably run $100 a month node, so it's a little bit cheaper than like $170 a month. But the amount of data storage you have to store is just like enormous because the data storage in Ethereum isn't optimized. And also, you can't really self-stake because you need to stake 32 ETH.
32.
And that's like $80,000. So
that's why I asked the question, how much XNT? And you answered it's one
so
XNT.
It's one XNT, and like if one XNT is worth
What's up, Moon
$1,
Bear?
the chain is worth $1 billion, which is pretty good. And it's not even that expensive because most of the chains are way above $1 billion. But hey, we're not going to be greedy. We're going to start maybe right around that number, as low as possible if we can. And we want the distribution to happen wide. Like we don't want like concentration of whales, like come in and like capture all the value and then centralize the chain. And so we're working both on the ways to distribute the tokens, as well as set up the decentralizing protocol that does not reward the whales who delegate the most, because it isn't just the money that does the work, but also the effort of the node, functionality of being always available, always have high quality, and that's when you actually get more rewards. So we're working on that system, and currently Solana does not implement it. You can run a shitty node, and you will actually damage the network,
True.
and you may or may not get your yield, because the yield is actually given by how many times you vote. But like, there's no punishment for skipping blocks. So in Solana ecosystem, the leaders are the block producers, and if the leader is malfunctioning, they will be elected anyway, even if they have like a high rate of block skipping. And so that actually makes the chain slower. And so in our technological design, we actually take into account how well you're producing blocks, so that you can
Jack like really be explaining himself. He's long-winded.
be elected as a validator and as a leader.
I be like thinking I'm very long-winded too. But yo, Jack, you're
To make blocks for the next round.
we gotta make blocks for the next round.
Do you think like Solana and these kind of VC backed other chains, like do they normally have like advertisement campaign pushes somehow? Like is that a normal thing with blockchain launches?
Well, I mean, sure. I mean, like, there's like all kinds of events. So, like, when Sonic was launching, or like Phantom was relaunching, they got a bunch of billboards, and they had like trucks with, you know, the Sonic name and like what the chain's gonna do, like driving around New York or something like that. I actually don't like this sort of a thing, and I think it's retarded. I think the principles of decentralization and a strong community should be the one that's like be be visible as the users of the network, not somebody off the street. Because I mean, like, I can see where you can get like a VC or whatever, like a large VC who gives you like 50 million, and now you have this 50 million, you don't know what to spend it on, and like the board of directors then will say, you need to spend $5 million advertising the chain to the world. How are you gonna do it? Let's buy all those billboards on 405 in LA. let's hire a bunch of trucks, to
Jack, a comedian.
to run advertisement on the side, and like and basically that's how we show off that we actually exist. But I think that's a wrong approach. I think things should be mostly organic. And like the other thing that like I really don't like or prefer not to do is a bunch of chains they get the KOLs, which is basically like popular people on crypto Twitter for hire, and they just pay them and they shill the chain day in and day out, and they're really just like shilling purchasing of the token, so the token rises in value. And I think it's retarded, because I think the token should rise in value based on the true metrics that are actually important for the ecosystem, which we all know what they are. So the first principles of crypto. Yeah, and I think building a solid foundation kind of like really is important, and not just like running around and purchasing airtime so that your token gets pumped.
Well, I guess a better advertisement kind of dual thing would be developers, incentivizing developers strongly, because they bring users, and that's always advertisement. Pumped Out Fund was a key onboarding tool for Solana. So like a breakout DApp or something,
A grant program from the
That's
X1
exactly
Lab
right.
that provides XNT to projects. Like instead of a scholarship, you allocate certain portions of XNT to provide for the next developers for the community. That's what I would recommend. allocating a certain percentage for a grant program, so that way we can give out XNT to developers and builders.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think that's the right way to go about it. Ultimately,
That's
you
exactly
want to
right.
leverage the builders because you said it accurately. Builders do bring community, and the goal for the builders is to create value and then capture that value for themselves so they can build more things that are interesting. And of course, there's good builders and there's like ridiculous builders that build something that nobody uses, but that's for the market for the market to decide. So everybody's welcome to build, everybody's welcome to be supported by the X1 Foundation. So like we will have an allocation specifically for builders, so everyone welcome to build. And obviously Solana is extremely helpful because every builder on Solana is compatible because we're SVM identical, so there's no change with the virtual machine itself. And all of the tooling is compatible. You just change one URL and you're good to go. So there are opportunities like it's like I often say that if Solana is like the East Coast, we're like California. So we're the new frontier.
Yeah, I should know this, but does X1 also EVM compatible, like building? Or
No, not right now.
on ChatGPT it says it was. I don't know why I was like seeing that.
Yeah, so I think it's because it read XenCrypto.io, which is the unofficial blog. So like we started with EVM and then we thought that maybe we're gonna combine EVM and SVM, but then we're like ultimately decided to improve the consensus layer itself. As we discovered that there's things to improve, and so we just thought that let's just double down on SVM. And it just so happened that that was a year before Solana started to pump, so it was really good timing to focus on SVM. And now we know that SVM is pretty much like eating the world, and it's more secure. It's a lot more secure than EVM in terms of language.
You see a future where Solana flips ETH?
I see it. I think it can definitely happen, and I mean, it's difficult to. I mean, like Ethereum has a lot of momentum, and also it seems to be like Vitalik finding his balls finally and like working on the scaling, and the Ethereum Foundation is now talking about how to scale L1. And before it was like the forbidden topic, like they didn't want to talk about it. And I think Ethereum as a token is actually turning around. You can see it. So which is great for me personally because I own Pepe on Ethereum, and Pepe has been pumping.
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't have Ethereum, but I have Pepe, which is kind of funny.
You know, I thought of a funny little dApp we
I
could
don't
do
have
on
Ethereum,
X1,
but I have
and
Zen.
it would be a mimic of Pump Fund. It'd be called Mirror.Fun, and it clones every contract that's ever been done on Pump.Fun, and then spells the words backwards. And it's like a land grab. People come over and just grab it, and it's legally sound because you're not copying anything. You'll let them launch it, put the photo up, and then
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty funny. So, by the way, I wanted to share that, and feedback's welcome, of course. So, what I want to do, I want to launch .x1 names for the accounts and addresses on Solana. So, like Jack.x1, CloudCox.x1, Axel.x1, and the way it would work, those accounts and addresses are compatible and transferable between X1 and Solana, but Solana where the money is, and so that if we were to create a system that actually sells namespace like this, it could be really popular for our community because people can get their favorite words and basically purchase them from the foundation. So that's how foundation can be funded by the community, like so to speak, so that the money could be then used to grow the ecosystem. And you pay for it in Sol, and then there may be like an auction. So like, for example, let's say that I come to the service to do that, and I happened to grab Jack.x1. And so that should start a 24-hour auction where anybody who wants the same name, they can come and pay more. And so like on eBay, they just put in their bid, whatever the maximum Sol they want to pay. And if nobody comes within 24 hours, they grab that name. And that name then actually resolves to the address that they want to own. So essentially it's the same as .eth, but .x1. So it's like domain names for your addresses, which is really cool.
Are you
And
still going to use the XNM to buy the domains for X1?
use XNM to buy the domains for X1.
Yeah,
Well,
and earlier you were saying how we may be able to trade or sell our XNM to buy domains. So besides our
John, you just be asking shit.
X1, you could buy the URL domains using XNM.
I want to get to this timestamp that
Solana 1.
Just
Earn it put down. I think it's 334.
In terms of burn records.
Oh, here we go. Burn records.
You need to do it when it makes sense.
And we got
so basically like that's what moon parties are for. So you're
Zen and COZen. If there's like a bridge,
you're actually converting to
tokens
okay
over to X1.
Burn talk.
Well,
because
so
we're gonna lose listing for a lot of things. So
yes. So basically like that's what moon parties are for. So you're by burning your Zen, you're actually converting to XNT, which is technically getting an allocation on X1. So like that's effectively is the bridge.
Is it only ETH Zen or is it all Zen?
It's all Zen. It's not only Zen, but it's all Zen assets.
Oh, that's amazing. I was thinking about mine only ETH Zen. So okay, then we gotta burn it all, guys. Are we allowed to burn collectors and apexes as well, or no?
So, well, we haven't built the burning function yet for those things, but like my suggestion is not to burn anything now and wait until XNT liquidity is presented on Solana and it actually shows value. Then you can make a decision whether it makes sense to burn, to keep, or to sell. So there's three possibilities for your Zen assets. You keep it, or you sell it, or you burn it. But you need to do it when you know what the XNT value is, and the calculator will tell you how much XNT you're getting for what is that you have in terms of burn records.
Man, that's gonna be a crazy day. So it's gonna probably sounds like it'll likely be wrapped XNT first on Solana mainnet, and then that's when we'll get the price discovery chop.
Yeah, yep, exactly right. So we will be the market maker on Solana, and we will have the XNT trading there first. It will get its initial value, and then we will, after a while, once liquidity and price discovery occurs, it will be time to launch the Moon Party, right? And the Moon Party is basically a conversion of Zen assets to XNT, but you're not doing it blindly because you actually know what the value is, and that's actually good and transparent. And I think like we really should just like follow this convention rather than like people speculating on value where that value could be anything.
Yeah. Do you guys have a number of like the seeding of that liquidity? Is that and what allocation is that gonna is it just gonna be seeded?
So the traditional way of doing it is like 5 to 10% of the total supply. So we're talking about like if we were to try to launch at $1 billion valuation, then the token value should be about $1 per token, and 5 to 10% of $1 billion is basically $50 to $100 million float, or basically the liquidity pool value. And so people will be able to grab it for $1, trade it, sell it, whatever. But the liquidity pool will provide this initial liquidity so that the price is relatively stable.
I gotcha. I think that's cool. That'd be fun to play with too once that's moving on Solana. Get some liquidity pairs and
Yeah, so like one thing that I think is extremely positive and advantageous to us is the fact that we're friends with Solana. We're not like competing, and therefore we can use the Solana platform for liquidity provisioning to capture the value there without feeling like we're fragmenting the ecosystem, because we feel like we're so small like compared to them. It just like makes total sense to run the sort of like an initial distribution there, and then have a bridge working where the tokens can actually move back and forth. But ultimately, like the way that it works is that even if the bridge is not going to work like the first month, the value will be identical between Solana's trading pool and whatever's happening on X1. Except that Solana just has more buyers and more TVL. So like there's like more stable coins. Sol has value, and so pairing XNT with Sol and XNT with USDC, just the proper way to do that. And also, again, we're not suffering from the fact that we're like competitors and we're like, we shouldn't talk about Solana, we only should talk about X1. We're like very exclusive. So we don't have that, where other chains that are attempting to launch, it would actually hurt their ego to launch a token on something like Ethereum if they're competing with Ethereum. So like Monad, I don't think Monad will launch on Ethereum. I think they're gonna launch on Coinbase, but they're not gonna launch their tokens on Ethereum. So they would want people to just come from Coinbase straight to Monad, and they wouldn't want to like to split the supply. But we'll have a problem with that because we feel like we can actually capture more of an audience if we do it this way.
yeah, it sounds like a win-win. And it's so native, and it's good at double exposure if people see this wrapped token on Solana going up.
Yeah, we want marketing besides crypto Twitter. So we want people to be surprised, like when they read about X1, like where can I get X1 tokens?
Yeah, so like I just want to recap on what he was saying there, because this is the part where like Jack is basically, he's keeping it very vanilla, because technically by telling you that you need to wait until there's a price, he doesn't lose, because now he can't say what I can say because I'm crypto bruh. I am on a different spectrum. I don't work at X1 Labs. I just hang out with him. He's my Google buddy. But I feel like that was a great signal that you need to know what you really want to do. And do you understand all this time, where have you been? We've been waiting for this part where people actually have to ask themselves this question. Like, I don't have to ask myself this question because I've been on this journey and this has been the definition the whole time. Right? This has been the whole thing. You want as much XEN as possible, exposure from all angles, and you want to burn now before, you know, you're in competition. But he's saying literally the best play, which is, yo, just wait. Or if you're really skeptical or you don't know, you know, what you want to do, again, the mainstream market could see a little sell-off and you could just stake Solana and lower your risk tolerance. But the XEN risk tolerance will be the highest because this is an undiscovered price, just like X and T. So yeah, it's probably smart not to try to send people over here and, you know, kind of release the chaos, yet allow the community to create chaos. And I am definitely still shopping, so please give me discounts. I'm looking for discounts. That's why I'm like, man, CBZen is so intuitive. All the intuitive Zenians are on base chain. They hear and they respond. Everywhere else, everyone's kind of lagging. Maybe a little bit on Avalanche, I guess. But I mean, look at the volume is $1 and $4. So really, is that even what the fuck? You know, what the fuck? What the fuck? Yeah, CBZen is looking good. So I'm gonna do some research. What the fuck is Nomad? Oh, Nomad is that base? What do you call it? It's like, well, I don't know. It's a DeFi Llama thing, or you can see it on DeFi Llama. It's got like a butterfly, but it's a DeFi program. Oh, they sprucing this up. They changing the UX. UX is getting squarish, square round. And Bitcoin TVL on Bitcoin raising, which doesn't make any sense. You can't store anything on Bitcoin. You can only store it on top of the Bitcoin. So I don't know how on top of Bitcoins on top of Bitcoins is TVL on top of Bitcoin. It don't make no sense. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking this is Metafo. Oh, I'm thinking, yeah, I don't know what the hell Nomad is. Saudi. A Solana competitor. Oh, okay, there it is. I heard Jack spoke last night in X and he didn't put any roadmaps of any kind. LOL. We got a bot in the house named Don. We're literally listening to it and the roadmap is in the audio. Gotta do some research, my dude. But yeah, so yeah, that's kind of like my take on the burn. Like, I think honestly that the community is super small. It's already like a handful of like OGs and a handful of go-getters. So it's better to see this dude like that, just like the bot that just came in with no photo. Like, that's kind of where we are. Like, we want the extra FUD so we can keep getting these prices down, because there's more FUD on top of it that people haven't dissected yet, which is going to be this ideology that, yo, they're going to sell it hella low and then it's going to go, it's going to turn around. And what's crazy is we have to live out this time, right? If we look again at this idea of, hey, are we oversold or overbought? We're right here at the 40. So it does make more sense for Zen to take a dip, right? It makes more sense for a whale to actually sell because there's no inflation. And if you don't know that, then you're going to be the person selling behind the whale, and that's how they're going to get everybody. So this is like somebody, and you can see there's buyers. So like CBZen is where people are buying because it's the cheapest place to make Zen. So it's where the biggest numbers are outside of Polygon, and you lower the risk because you're in ETH, right? And that's why you don't see Polygon going up right now, because it's a whole bunch of Jeets over there. So of course no one's buying into Polygon. We're gonna let y'all Jeet it. They still Jeeting $30 worth of Polygon instead of burning it. Jeets. Damn, is this a bot? What in the fuck is this? Whatever, somebody's strategy. But I honestly, that's where I'm like, oh, if I get into MZen, it'll be very strategic and y'all won't know about it. But I started doing some research on MZen, and MZen's funky. Like, even down to the minting. Like, look at the G ranks is 0 active minters. It's just people recycling coin tools. The land of coin toolers is fucking Polygon. The land of coin toolers. Look at CBZen. New minting is happening because we make xeNFTs. So the active minters follows the xeNFTs, because essentially you're making new addresses every single time. Same on Optimism. And that's kind of why, again, I'm like, oh, okay. You have a few coin toolers on Optimism, so there is a little bit of gaps sometimes that I have seen, but you'll see it's pretty in sync. And when the NFTs are rocking harder, you'll see it like this, where you have active mentors and low G ranks, because people are able to, create new wallets using NFTs. It's pretty fascinating. And again, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like there's not going to be people who are this deep in the game and they're going to dump right now. So we got to wait for them to exit. That's why it's 3 to 12 months. Keep pushing out those that don't understand, because it's their right to not get it, to not understand. And then those that are hip to the game, basically keeping their ear to the street, they will get the best price possible on burning Zen, because we haven't seen that. Again, the best price up until the switch is flipped is going to be minting. And now you've run out of time, because now you can't mint enough Zen in a year. You could, but like it's really gambling. You should have been minting and setting up 150-day mints when I was like talking about it. That's right. Minzen.com coming soon. You almost have the tech. Probably going to hate that too, but then you're going to love it. So yeah, getting to Zen, if you don't know how to get to it, oh well. And the burn idea is so facts. If you didn't even know how to get to the burn, maybe you shouldn't be burning right now. Like maybe burning is too elevated for you. Maybe keep your Zen instead of joining Xburner on CB Zen up 37% right now. I don't know what happened. Maybe somebody burned for Xburner. Maybe that's what happened, and it pumped CB Zen too. Because again, you're gonna want burn points, and if you don't understand that part, it's up to you're fucked. You're fucked, bro. Damn. Don, no one invested into Zen, bro. You're out. You're one and done. Sorry, my dude. That's low IQ energy. No one's on your side. I only got MZen to get more Polygon. Hey, that's facts though. Basically, what I'm hearing from Jack is if you want XNT, get Zen for burning or have some Solana ready. Exactly. If you want XNT, get some Zen. And that's why it's so funny that like everybody's first impression, and you see it on the chart, besides CB Zen, and I don't know why, you got to ask the Zenians over there. But if you see it, like this is where I'm at with it. Like the game is dominated by market makers, and they're making the market still. And there's not enough buyers on ETH. And we've been saying this, that the buyers are gone because the gas is too competitive with other chains that make more sense. It's almost like high gas makes ETH more desirable, but now it's low gas makes it competitive. So yeah, a lot of mindshare has left. You can tell from the transactions that it's just like it is what it is. You're gonna have market makers trading and rotating the chart with their robots. And I don't think you're gonna see people buying Ethereums in until someone makes a move and makes people rich. And that's where I'm at with it. If the move ain't to 125 million, then expect this to fizzle out until XEN chain. It's probably going to fizzle out from the sell pressure, because the sell pressure on Ethereum Zen is insane, right? Some of the reasons why it's like this is the main issue. Ethereum Zen, there's more liquid. Oops, wrong one. There's way more liquid coins than stake coins. So the liquid concentration is what makes ETH Zen volatile. You also have the 2000 amp. So that's why I'm like, yo, I wouldn't be surprised to see ETH Zen fizzle out if it can't establish culture. Now, I think Zen is culture, but that's just one brain. It takes many brains to believe that. So maybe in the future, Zen will be culture, and we can gamble on that. And that's kind of like owning your Zen, like keeping your Zen. What Jack was saying, like if you want to keep your Zen because you think it's going to become culture, it's going to be relevant, then yeah, keep your Zen. But from my understanding of this system, this AMP needs to get to 1, and that's not until 2029. So we got hella time before this AMP is desirable, and we have that now on Optimism. We have it on Optimism. So Ethereum needs to make some sense. It doesn't. It's competitive. Base is a way better blockchain. Zen lives there, and its tokenomics actually work with Base's blockchain, because you don't need just high gas for Zen to work. All high gas does is create resistance for the G rank. But if the community doesn't know what to do with it, then all of the coins are just going to be liquid anyways. Right? If you look at Base Chain, even though there's an inflated G rank, you still have more total stakes than you do actual liquid, because this community sees some sort of value in their tokens. Right? And they could let them go, but then that's just it. The competitive nature of the X1 burn is on Base Chain. No shill. You're seeing it live. Because Base is real estate. Right? Zen on Base actually makes a lot of sense. And that's how you know we're in a weird space, because nobody understands still what the fuck is going on. And they probably won't get it until there's a ton of green candles, because they're going to force themselves to get it. At that point, they're going to be like, I got to understand now. So, again, that's what Jack is setting you up for. He's just telling you, do what the fuck you want to do, because it's still every man for themselves. XNT is going to people who've been here since day one, not like Don up above saying, I invested a lot. Like, no, you didn't, fool. You're a nobody. You're like a nobody in the Orgo at this point. So we know who you are. Everybody knows who they are because they've been here every day. They never left. Even the ones in the back. We know who you are because you've really been here in the back. Shout out Enthusiast. Shout out Lita. In the back. Never talk. Shout out Zen Eve W, bro. Brian, bro. Never talk. Just be in the ETH. E and J. I never heard that person talk, but I know their name. And that's kind of like where I'm at with the whole like Zen thing. Like, I think Zen is huge, and people are discounting its euphoria. It's going to put a lot of people in that motion because it's obtainable, it's accessible, and it's going to land somewhere where people can use it. We're seeing everybody run. They're trying to find a bag. They can't build a blockchain, so they got to do it via program. All right. In Zen, that's what I'm saying. Zen might have a chance to do the Bitcoin thing because it's so immutable. And one of these chains could nurture it, but that's what I'm saying. Are these chains really for the developer, or is Zen here to let you know that technically you're putting too much weight on these chains to, by holding your Zen? Burn it. Like, get rid of it. Right? Wait for the price of XNT and then get rid of it all. Right? Or don't have any of it now. Sell it all. Get the, get the zero price. Because there's no X1. So technically everybody can sell it all. Right? That's maybe what's going to happen next. Maybe that's we're just going to see people just start selling. How much ETH is left in the pool for ETH is in? Balls coin. Lols. 17 ETH, $45,000. That's what I mean. This is pretty much at zero already. $45,000. See, this is why I'm like, OP Zen is the simulation of ETH Zen. It has the same amount of Zen in the pool, but it has less Ethereum. It's the most retarded thing. This one's actually retarded because Optimism and Ethereum are the same thing. One is just a layer 2, but essentially it's just like a carbon copy of Ethereum, and they literally are side by side, but one has 8 zeros because it has 2 ETH, and one has 7 zeros because it has 17. It is dumb. Like, it's so dumb. That one is the dumbest one. And then you got CBZen, which is funnier because it's only got 1 Ethereum. Don is pissed. He's a sleeper. Some people sleep with their eyes open. That's that guy, Don. Like, still crying about investing in the Zen. Like, grow some balls already. Grow some hair. Like, we're moving into X1 chain. All these chains are stupid. Like, crying about, like, not making money in Zen. Like, you obviously were never going to make money in Zen because you needed to do everything. And you gave up before you could even get to that part. That's why all these people have to come back now, because they have to do the walk of shame. But the best part about like this idea is that even if you have to come back and do a walk of shame, it doesn't matter, because, you know, it's just crypto. Like, you did what you did and then you're back, and what's up, you know? Where are we going? Right? And that's cryptocurrency. So I'm betting on base chain still, even though everybody's going to probably give up. I think this is the fairest launch coin on base. I got words to say people to wake up on that chain, because that chain is utter trash, but it has a Zen coin and it needs nurturing, and I think it can be a top 5 token on base, if not top 2 with X1 Live. And the same goes for Optimism. Optimism, it fell out of the trading. Oh no, it's still there. So it's number 9 trading on Optimism, OPZen. So OPZen has the same capabilities. It could totally be a top 2 token trading on Optimism, because what the fuck else is happening over there? Literally nothing. Literally nothing is happening. Right, let's look at the volume. Or we'll look at the trades. Or here, we'll just do 24 hours, I guess. You see OP's in number 8. And above us is, I don't know, Moon BFI? A World Coin. Magic Tux. These must be some meme coins. Unix. The Unix coin. Lols. But yeah, so there's some market share to obtain. You can see there's some volume here that I definitely feel like needs to be in OPZen. And maybe, you know, again, it's just someone building alongside like Optimism and getting some grants that go into the Zen world. That's something I've been thinking about that could happen in that rotation. But yeah, that's why, yo, if you're not paying attention, like right now, like look at OPZen. People are literally dumping it because they got too much of it. That's the only reason. It double bottom down here. So if you're dumping, you're just like dumping into sellers or into bots that are gonna DCA. But like here, let's look at this account. Like all they do is sell. Let's see if they're just minting and selling. Because this is what my theory is now that we have this information on, I'll finish the rest of the podcast with Jack real quick. But now that we have this information, essentially, giving back your Zen is critical, and we want people to do it on their own discretion. That just intensifies the, oh man, I really had that shit. So yeah, you see like these are getting smaller at 2 million a piece. Here, let's look back. How long ago did they do this? This is how, okay, we're gonna do some math on it so you can see how you can find the G ranks and see if you're about to get crushed. But we can go here and click this wallet. This is gonna bring up this. Click the wallet again under filter holders. My dumbass converted my BTC to Zen when it was at its highest and it dropped. Damn. I mean, that's what I mean though. Just hodl the Zen. The Zen's gonna come back. Everybody's gonna have to come in. It's gonna have to come back. This type shit. It's pretty funny. That's why it's like everyone. The smart ones will do the walk of shame now before there's hella attention. You just get it out the way. Like, hey, okay, fuck it, man. We're here now. And then you'll start to see like some of the big haters that were hating on it start to change and talk about Zen positively because they got bags and now they can confidently be like, actually, I think it's a good idea. It's like, what the fuck? No, you did not. Yo, people, this man, this person spent 41 cents on this xeNFT on Optimism. Insane. And then the claim, let's see, and then the claim to start it all cost them half a penny because we're 500 days later. So 500 days ago, and this is where I'm at with this whole thing. Like, he's actually putting people right in his pocket, because 500 days ago, X1 had a whole different narrative. Yeah, January 18th. So if we go to XEN and we go to C ranks, January 18th, 2024. $95,000 or 95 million was the G rank. So yeah, there's also a decrease in supply at 100K because the first 100 or what the EAA did was it like inflated supply, and it like was the first 100 days. So like everything's moving in hundreds also. Like this weird math, I don't know what to call it, but yeah, 100-day EAA, or yeah, it was 100-day 100,000 K EAA, and then 100 days of pure inflation, and then when 100 million G ranks, you typically see G ranks taper off because it is just difficult to make more. It was like a psychological thing. Like people were seeing it and they're like, oh, I don't want to make any more. So like you see it just naturally tapered off versus like when it was just rocket shipping. But let's go over on this one. This side, we can see how many G ranks were made on that day. And these are the ones we have to look out for. Like at some point in I don't know what the 500-day mark is, that some point these OPs and mints are going to be coming out, and maybe somebody planned it perfect and they'll just keep them. But right now we're right here. Yeah. So the highest inflation on OPZen is going to be right now, because these next 2 to 3 days is people are claiming whatever automated system they had, and then it's going to go down, and then it's going to be severely dropping off. Inflation 500 days from 130. So where are we at right now? We are at 118, and that's 10 plus 2, so 12. So in 12 days, OPZen is going to really have a disinflationary shock, and maybe there's something that will happen with the price. And it's going to happen over and over again. It looks like. Boom. Like every 2 weeks. And I guess it's been happening. So whoever is minting it out, they're almost done, because the last bit of this is right in this area. And that's because the AMP was getting smaller and smaller. Here, let's look at this real quick. See, that's why you got to understand how Zen works. So you can just look at it and dive right in and be like, oh, okay, I understand how all of this was put together. So I want to see this xeNFT. Does it still exist? Yeah, I want to see it. Let me see it. Oh, it's not going to show up. It's not going to show up. Darn it. I can't see the amp. I wanted to see what the amp was. But I'm sure these are the smaller amps. And they didn't even do 128. They did 125. But yeah, I'm sure the AMP was like 1. I think the other way I can figure this out is, what's the name of this? Okay. I can copy this. All right, we're just going to go to... I don't know. I'm just surfing. I'm just chilling. Chill stream. Now we're just chilling. Because you should go and listen to the space with Jack. Here, I'll post it in the link so you can go listen to the other half. I might save it for tomorrow or some dumb shit. Oh, that's not it. That's the Google Drive. All right, this is up. All right, let's look at something here. Yo, you should go make some legendaries on OP. There's still some, or there's quite a few. They're pretty cheap. But I want to look for item number 488165. Man, what a horrible give me that one. This drop down menu is moving fast as hell. Oh, so actually, okay, the AMP here is at 176. Man, shout outs to, I don't think they they do them all. Here, let's see. Least rare. Or did these do it by token ID? That'd be by token ID, the oldest. Man, it's so confusing. Yeah, we need like a real NFT indexing thing. But what I'm trying to get at is essentially, you shouldn't be worried about dumpers because they barely got any supply, and when they're dumping, they're literally exiting and just getting out of here, and they're they're providing you with a discount, and it's one of the most bizarre things. But yeah, you don't know what they are doing. Like, they might really need the money or something. But at some point, Jack's gonna have to say something, or again, he doesn't have to say anything. It depends on the community, but in 3 to 12 months, he's gonna say something, and it's gonna change the paradigm of how Zen is operating. And that's really when, you know, you ask yourself, like, do you want to be buying, or you want to be at the farmer's market on a Sunday, or do you want to be on a farmer's market on a Wednesday, right? Do you want to be in rush hour, or do you want to be after hours? You know, and if you don't know what that means, you got a lot of research to do, because that's the only way you're gonna be able to jump anything. All right, everything is literally up to you, right? You can hold your Zen, you can buy some Zen, you can sell your Zen, or you can burn your Zen. Whatever you want to do until X1 chain, you know. But yeah, bro, I gotta go. Till next time, peace.